Konnichiwa, fishes. Welcome to another amazing edition of Mail Call, which you guys so mysteriously love so much. But here we are again, still on the road, eastbound and up tour, fishing for big smallmouth, fishing for big muskies. A little bit of the tail end, back half of this swing right now. Looking like we're going into a post-spawn, pre-spawn, spawn, depending on what the weather's doing, situation with the smallmouth. Muskies have finally moved off the bank and they're starting to snap at some of the bigger baits now. With all of that going on in the next couple weeks ahead of us of some targeted musky fishing potentially, I had another batch of products come in to help us facilitate these big bass streams and big musky dreams. And if you guys have been following this series of mail calls, you guys remember back in probably December of this past 2017, I had received my first Japanese destroyer TS 82X Tenchijin. How would you pronounce that, Kobe?
Tenchijin.
Tetsuya, help us out, man. Dude, we're struggling here.
Yeah, we need Tetsuya's help.
But this rod is a beast. So much so that I felt like it really fishes these bigger baits and some of the baits up to a pound in this musky realm so well that I had to get a second one. So the difference is now we also got some new reels to outfit these TS destroyers with. And on the first setup, I went with the 6-to-1. And to be specific, I think it was a 6-6-to-1. And the reason I picked that particular reel for this rod is because I can make super long casts. And with that big power handle and super fast gear ratio, I can quickly pick up a lot of line. And instead of sitting there with a 300 or 400 size reel and like burning it, and wearing myself out like I did last fall, with that big 6-to-1 gear ratio and that big arbor, I mean that's a big tall reel. The line pickup is incredible. Like I can burn this thing 3-4 miles an hour probably, and not fatigue myself nearly as much as a standard 300 or 400 size reel. And I saw that from my saltwater fishing background, really, because a lot of the guys obviously on the West Coast fish this reel for inshore, light offshore duties. Guys have caught some giant bluefin on them. Incredible casting reels, bulletproof. Frankly, it makes these muskies feel like the small Pacific barracudas that we used to catch growing up when I hook them on this gear. It's not even fair. But you know, with that being said, I want to be prepared when I hook a potential 50+ inch muskie. And that's always the goal, right? We have lofty goals. It's a sharp learning curve. But I'm going to provide myself, now that I can, the best gear at my disposal to help me realize those goals and dreams. You always want to get away with the best that you can afford. Obviously, you don't need a Tranx 500 or a TS Destroyer. But coming up through this game, I've always made the best of what I had. And I always started from the very beginning. I mean, from the very bottom. I was just telling Kobe about my first experiences fishing a Rebel popper when I was 10 years old on a Shakespeare spin cast rod from Walmart. Actually, Kmart. This is before Walmart.
Walmart was a thing.
Like, you know, I don't even know what pound line was on that thing, but it was like super coily. It was terrible, okay? So just because you may be at that Shakespeare level doesn't mean you can't get to this level, because look, this clown did it. All right, but there's levels to it, and there's levels to all of this. There's levels to your fishing experience. There's levels to your gear. There's levels to the boating experience. And this is what I hope a lot of you guys come away with from these type of videos. I'm not trying to show off to you guys that I have the most ridiculous musky setup anybody's ever put together. I'm trying to tell you guys that you can have the same thing too. Sacrifice some things. Don't buy this. Don't buy that. Don't eat out as much. Don't drink. Like, that's a huge one for all my young 20-year-olds. You know, like, that's a huge expense. You know, you sacrifice things so you can have the things that you really want. And it just depends on what you really want. Like, what do you guys really want? You know, I want to enjoy every aspect of the chase for these fish of a lifetime. And the gear is a big part of that. Like, you know, I geek out on this now. Like, those days for me are over with. But the days of me chasing giant fish, they're just starting. So anyway, back to the gear. For this TS82X, I went with a slower gear ratio, 4:6 to 1, because I want to have another tool that I can use for those big baits that have a lot of drag. You know, big, giant, I mean, I don't even know what they're called. What are these double bucktail things called?
Double Cowgirls is a popular brand, you know. Yeah,
Okay.
just a bucktail is,
Yeah. But just like cranking, right? You got a lot of resistance in the water. A higher gear ratio will make you work harder typically. So having that 4:6 to 1 gear ratio for those heavy water displacement baits like double cowgirls or a pounder, you know, whatever those baby alien things are. Like, you know, forgive my ignorance. I'm still new to this game. You know, I'm trying to put these West Coast style baits in these fish and see how they're reacting. But now I have another option that's capable of throwing pretty much anything in that dope musky shop that I visited here in Wisconsin. You know, I got a high gear ratio, got a low gear ratio, and I got the most effective tools at my disposal there. So I'm super pumped on this Tranx 500 in a slower gear ratio. 80-pound braid, tie it off to 130-pound fluorocarbon leader. It's kind of been my go-to for all of these different styles of baits. If you see what's hanging here, this is kind of what I've been fishing. You know, we got eye slides, you got big mag draft, some other stuff. And, you know, just starting to dive into more of the standard musky fare stuff. My buddy Scott had this beaver that was sick. Like, no affiliation. I'm sorry. Oh, awkward. But like, there's some cool stuff here, man, and it's a nice breath of fresh air for me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. Like, I do this a lot. I fish a lot, so I get bored. That's this guy. Like, you know, I sit there and block on him when a fish comes up on his bobber, because that's entertaining to me right now. But, you know, keeping these things fresh, or keeping fishing fresh, has been a big part of why we do these big road trips and experience new things and put ourselves in new situations, blind mostly, so we can figure it out, right? Coming in with a fresh perspective, a different perspective, a West Coast saltwater fishing perspective, you know, mixed with the most ridiculous bass rod that's ever come out of Japan. Like, I don't know what these guys, to be honest, I don't know what they designed this rod for, but it's a bass fishing rod. It's rated at 25 ounces. Like, what? Okay, cool. Let's see what we can do, you know? Anyway, so that's TS82X and Tranx combo number 2 now. But with that being said, I'm probably going to try and pick up another one of those if it becomes available. Ben at the Hookup Tackle, I think, might have one, so I might swoop one if one of you guys doesn't beat me to it. But I do like that high gear Tranx for line pickup. You know, we're talking about fishing some new lakes with big water, covering a lot of water. I want to be efficient because we're going to fish long days. We're going to fish a lot of days. I wanted to minimize my wear and tear on my body, so I don't have to keep ordering things like this from Amazon. Yeah, it's a heat pack. Yeah, not my proudest moment. But it's real. You know, I spend a lot of time doing this, and you know, it's a lot of physicality involved here. So your gear can help reduce that. You know, the right rod, the right reel combo. Like I've been trying to teach Kobe and some of these guys here that aren't familiar with that pendulum style cast, you know, and showing them like the benefits of it, right? Letting the gear do most of the work for you. But now it's like I'm so like wound up, pun intended, you know, trying to get these muskies to react to like a fast retrieve or a fast presentation that I'm wearing myself out, like winding with like a 400 conquest, you know, which is what I like for largemouth fishing. That 5/8 to 1, a little bit slower gear ratio, a little bit smaller arbor, isn't really suited to that, at least not long term. So outfitting myself with better tools will hopefully make me a better musky angler. We're about to find out. But also in that box, you know, is a mid-sized Tranx. Got this new little Kershaw knife from Amazon with my old man heat pack. Got tired of borrowing Kobe's. I haven't carried a pocket knife in a decade. Just got tired of cops harassing me when I get pulled over when I was younger. But we have a 400 Tranx, and this is the high gear version with a big single handle. Smaller, much more manageable size. You know, this is something that a lot of you guys that are stepping into the big bait game, especially whether it's for stripers, whether it's for largemouth, whether it's for musky, are going to be a lot more comfortable with, because this is a giant reel. You know, I think this is off of a Trinidad 16 platform. Like, that's a full-on saltwater reel. Okay, they call it a low profile, but that's not that low. It's huge. So for most of you guys, something like a Tranx 400 is going to be much more comfortable, much more manageable. It'll make a lot more sense, to be honest. And frankly, I hate using a big single handle for freshwater fishing, but this style of fishing that I'm doing it's honestly a lot more like the saltwater style yellowtail fishing and the barracuda fishing and the white sea bass and the tuna stuff that I'm used to. So I've been able to adjust and embrace like the single handle that comes on the Tranx 500. And I'm going to try it on the Tranx 400 because I have another one, a 401, a lefty, that I swapped the single handle out with the double padded handle because I'm just much more comfortable, right? Like when I'm fishing a bait, I'm used to being able to like just not look at it and just reach, right? Instead of missing and grabbing air on a big single handle. You know, I like that double paddle. But you know, for like some of these burn style retrieves, or I'm looking for like a lot of fast pickup, or if I'm running down the shore on high or drifting with the wind, you know, where I really need that pickup, that it's another option for me. And another option that will help once again reduce the fatigue and keep me efficient and keep me focused, keep my body ready. Because just like the trophy bass fishing, the musky fishing opportunities of when these fish actually commit and make a mistake, it's really low. So I want to be prepared. You know, I've invested a lot of time mostly. You know, I've driven quite a ways from home, sacrificed a lot of time away from my friends and family, good food options, pretty girls, normal people. Yeah. Oh wait, did I just say that out loud? Anyway, you know, I want to make the most of it, and that's what this all boils down to. So Tranx 400 is a great size for those of you guys looking for a big bait reel but don't like the round reels especially. You know, it's still got that big high efficiency gearing box, so you should have no problem, you know, powering through these big fish when you do hook up. And just a little disclaimer, like, I don't have a reel sponsor. I don't. I fish a mix of Shimano, fish a mix of Megabass, but it's always high-end gear because I can't afford to miss or lose fish. Don't worry, Louie, it wasn't that big of a muskie, man. It's cool. I already forgot about it because I know you're watching this. So on to the next one. Is there another one in the truck?
You're missing another bantam. You have 2 bantams in you.
I thought I did.
You said you were 2.
I should have 6 reels here.
Maybe one's on back order. It's not working out, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, apparently I only ordered 5. Oh, they didn't send. Why? They didn't send my Stella.
Wow.
We're cutting all that anyway. All right. On to the next one. As you guys just recently saw, I got a nice little order of the new Orochi Double X's from Megabass. Short a couple reels. So I've heard good things from my buddy Alex from Tackle Tour. Those guys just recently did a little review on this Shimano Bantam. And from what I know, and I'm not very well versed on this, this reel features a one-piece machined aluminum frame. So it's kind of got that real rigid base, kind of like the old Chronarch beaded, you know, the Antares, all those beefy reels that I like. Because as you guys have seen, I'm pretty rough on my gear. I don't have time to baby it, you know. I need it to perform every time I pick it up, you know, and not be all butthurt when I drop it on the deck. Because I have to go net somebody's fish or, you know, do something crazy. But this thing is pretty sick. This is the XG model, right? Let me just read the box so I don't sound like a jackass. Oh yeah, make it real easy for me, guys. There's nothing on the box.
There's not much. Huh? Is it on your hand side?
Nope. Check that. I don't even know what gear ratio this one is. I think the XG is a faster one.
8 to 1.
Yep. This is an 8-to-1. Yeah. So this is an XG model Bantam, 8-to-1 gear ratio. I'm probably gonna put this on one of the faster taper rods, maybe the Atlas, maybe the Perfect Pitch, maybe the Extreme Mission Type F or the Tour Versatile. Something where I need a lot of line pickup, like when I'm flipping a jig or punching or even fishing a frog, you know, where I'm really manipulating the bait more with the rod and looking for just that quick line pickup with the 8-to-1. This is almost an 8-ounce reel, 7.9 ounces. Some guys might think that's heavy. It's all in perspective, because this whole setup is a lot heavier than that. You know, and I've always had that perspective being a saltwater angler as a kid. So I want that rigidity, I want that strength, I want that durability and dependability. So we'll see how this one shapes out. But it feels good. Smooth, of course, it's a Shimano. Looks pretty sick. Yeah, that's a good looking reel. That should sit really nice and low on that new Orochi. Man, I should probably put that on a Perfect Pitch, I think that'll go quite nicely. So anyway, we will go on to reel number 5. And this thing is something I've never seen in person. And this is the Shimano TwinPower. In a 3000 size at that. And guys might ask, actually I get that question quite a bit. It's like, well, why are you fishing at 3000? Like, you know, most guys are fishing 1000, 2000, or 2500. But I like the bigger spool size. Typically they pick up a little bit more line than the smaller reels. But most importantly, when I'm casting, that bigger spool diameter lets line fly off of it way easier. So I'm getting more casting distance, I'm getting more line pickup. And I believe the TwinPower is designed as a saltwater reel. So light duty saltwater. And I'm planning on hopefully doing some of that in the next month or so. And, you know, doing some halibut fishing when I'm back home in Long Beach area, Huntington Beach and all that, in Newport with my boy Johnny. But also, you know, any other saltwater applicable applications, I won't be timid to take this thing out. But I think this is going to be a sweet little jerkbait reel. You know, any kind of reaction bait stuff, that bigger spool, fast line pickup. Put this thing on a double X Ronin, go to work. You see that deep spool for the saltwater stuff. So I'm going to back this up with mostly braided line. Honestly, I fish braided line on all my spinning reels, so this is going to be all braided line for the most part with a short top shot of fluorocarbon leader. That's how I like to fish most of my spinning setups. And when I say a short top shot, I'm talking about like 8 to 15 inches, typically, max. And I know a lot of you guys, like this guy right here, aren't comfortable with short leaders. But until I see some bigger fish on your profiles, I'm not going to change. But anyway, that wraps up this reel section. We also have another package here from our good friends Ben Collar from the Hookup Tackle, and we're going to switch things up.